I just started crying. My tears started coming down, and I didn't know why. I mean, I wasn't sad. I was definitely happy, but it was just very, very emotional. And at that moment, all I could think that, you know, only if others could see this and feel this feeling, how our world would be different, and how people will live a different life. And I really wish someday it will become more accessible to everyone. And I tell people we should definitely send our world leaders to space, because their policies will be much different than the policies they have today. I think it has, you know, made me a lot more relaxed. I think I don't sweat the little things anymore, and most importantly, I think ever since I was able to see Earth from space, I only can think of problems and solutions in terms of the planet and the globe. I cannot think of something just in terms of, you know, what is the problem in my city and how do I solve the problem in my city. A lot of my focus has been put on what are some of global issues, how can we solve global problems. And you know, my attachment to I guess a particular city or country has completely gone away, even though I am very proud of my Iranian heritage and our Iranian culture, and I have always been very grateful of all the opportunities in United States and consider that my second home. When I flew to space, the cost was around $20 million, but I think right now it's gone up to about $35 million. And you can contribute to that to the fact that Russians learn capitalism really well, and NASA is not flying astronauts anymore because of the shuttle program shutting down. So there's only one game in town, and it costs a lot now. I was willing to pay with my life to go to space. So to me, it wasn't a matter of price. It was, you know, if I had the money, it didn't matter what the price tag was, I would have gone. For me, I think it was a little bit even more difficult because I was in a high-tech field. So being a woman entrepreneur, woman CEO in a high-tech field, you really need to work hard at earning your respect. I worked with my husband, so when we would go to a meeting, naturally a lot of people would think I'm the secretary, and you know they wouldn't, you know, even take me seriously in the meeting. But when I would stand up and do all the presentation and you know, have a lot of the technical discussion with them, then I would see the look of surprise in their face. So my personality is in a way that I don't sort of become bitter by what behavior I see around me. I guess it may even motivate me more to do better than anyone else around me. And I let my job and the quality of my work and what I do to speak for itself. And that has been very successful for me in the past. I think sometimes I see women entrepreneurs who try too hard. I think if we try to be ourselves and actually use our natural abilities, I do believe sometimes we, as women, we approach problems differently. The solutions we come up are different. Sometimes they're more creative. And I think we do better in group. So I think all these are very good qualities that can actually work in our advantage. So if we just use those qualities that sometimes people may, you know, not like in women as leaders, I think they're actually good qualities for any leader, especially for women. And we need to emphasize those and use those in our advantage. And that's what I would recommend. So I think media plays a huge role, and I think we need to start with young girls. I think even as young as in middle school, because that's where they make a lot of their decisions. As they become teenagers, they start shying away from a lot of science and technology fields because of this perception they have that it will ruin their social life. because women like to be social and sociable, and I think they have this fear that if I go into fields of science, I will be wearing a white lab coat and I'll be sitting behind the screen all my career. And I don't think they understand the opportunities are really tremendous for women, and they can make it as fun and as interactive as they want it to be. So being able to expose young girls to role models, to examples, to career opportunities at a young age will help them develop the interest in math and sciences, and hopefully we'll see more engineers. I hope so. What I'm a little bit worried about, I shouldn't say worried, because technology is not evil in its core. At its core, technology can be used for good or evil. So it's how we use it. But the whole social, network movement and how quickly information gets disseminated, it's a little scary, because there's little control over accuracy and truthfulness of the information, and people act on the information so quickly that by the time you find out the information may not have been that accurate, it may be too late, and someone's life may already been ruined, or a country or city's problems may have been exacerbated. So it's a little scary, but I think if people learn to use it responsibly, it can be a great tool. What concerns me actually is the fact that when I look at number of people, number of students going into the science and technology field, it's decreasing. As a species, we're becoming more and more dependent on technology. But the interest of people to keeping up the pace that we started is not there. And I think it's a big problem. It's a huge problem in this country, and something that it will take time to address it. So we need to start looking for solutions now. Now that rate of decline is even bigger for girls. And it wasn't high to start with, but it's decreasing at an alarming rate. So I think anything we can do to change that, to really get the interest of young students back into science and technology, so they're not only fascinated by making money through financial, systems and becoming, a trader on Wall Street. I think it will be helpful, because we really need it. It's important. It's not just for our gadgets, but as I mentioned, a lot of our problems can be solved by new, improved, and innovation in technology, and we need those young, creative minds, involved in it. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think a lot of it's this. I may be completely wrong, but I think it's this culture of I want money and I want it now and I want it easy, and studying science is not necessarily viewed as the easy way.